Welcome back to Ask Sloan, everybody.
Sponsored by Zentavos. Keep more of your money.
The brutal truth about finding yourself. Here's a disturbing thought. You could spend your entire life becoming successful and never become yourself. People chase money, status, relationships, promotions, and approval, believing those things will make them happy. Yet millions still lie awake at night asking the question, why do I feel so empty? So let me ask you something. Who are you? Not your job, your profile, or the roles you play for other people, but who are you when the noise stops? When nobody's watching or asking anything of you? The answer to that question, who are you, shapes the quality of your entire life. And for most people, it's a question that we don't even really understand. You weren't born insecure, afraid, or worried about what strangers think. You learned all of that. And you probably were not taught who you are or what you are. Most of us are living a life designed by parents, teachers, peer groups, society, fear, and expectations. So I have a question for you. Have you ever stopped long enough to ask whether the life you're living is actually yours? Most people aren't making decisions. They're following instructions. So who are you? What are you? The truth is, you are a spiritual being in a physical body with a mind to operate. And there are major forces at work to influence and control you. The good news is that you can overcome these forces by understanding who you are and taking control of the only power you have in this world. What is that power? That power is you. To take control of yourself and power over your life begins with who you are, and the foundation of you happens to be beliefs. What do you believe? How often do you think about your beliefs? Do you challenge those beliefs to make sure what you believe is true? Did you know that your foundational belief system is formed by age 7? Then all of those beliefs are under attack through early adulthood. What happens when you're under attack? You defend yourself. So regardless if those beliefs are true or not, you will defend them unless you are convinced that you were lied to. Then you start losing trust and faith in everything you were taught. If that happens, you become lost. But you can find yourself again. And the best way is to journal and figure out what you believe, what evidence you have to support those beliefs, and seek out additional evidence to either change your beliefs or reinforce them. So look, let's break down a belief, okay? A real simple one, okay, that's going around right now. Do you believe the earth is round or that the earth is flat? Well, where does that come from? Well, all of us were taught that the earth is round. We were told the story of Christopher Columbus and how the whole of society believed the earth was flat except for Columbus. So he set out across the ocean to prove it, and he did. That is, of course, a simplified version, and in fact, much of the story is not accurate. If you study in depth, you will learn that many scholars dating back more than 2,000 years have proven the earth is round in several ways. Additionally, our satellites, the International Space Station, even the recent orbits of Blue Origin have gone around the earth. So why do some believe the earth is flat? Well, the breakdown begins with a large distrust in our governments and educational systems. Then a constant barrage of messaging pointing to stories that we never went to the moon, Antarctica is a wall of ice that cannot be penetrated, historical maps of the flat earth, etc. Trust is the problem. So what should you believe? The first question you should be asking yourself is, does it even matter? Do I even need to weigh in on this subject? Does it make my life better or worse to believe either way? The second question you should ask yourself is, what is the agenda of the messenger? What are they trying to accomplish by telling me to believe this or that? If what I want is peace, harmony, fulfillment, and purpose, then how can I achieve that if my beliefs are constantly under attack? Can you see how important it is to understand your beliefs, where they come from, the evidence that supports them? I'm not going to Antarctica. I'm not going on Blue Origin. I don't care if the earth is round or flat because it doesn't change my life in any way, shape, or form. Do I have an opinion? Maybe. But this one doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, you need to drop it from your attention. So, who are you? What are you? We covered a little bit about beliefs, but here's the rest of it. Your spirit is comprised of beliefs, values, attitudes, thoughts, feelings, and actions or behavior. That is who you are. And that is what you are. And that is all that you have control over in this life. So take back control of you. I was taught this by a psychologist when I was 14 and 15 years old, but I didn't fully understand it until my early 20s. Still today, I have to take personal inventory in order to control myself so I can shape the outcomes of my life. If you want peace, harmony, balance, fulfillment, and purpose, start today. Start a journal, learn who you are, and develop to become your best self. Now let's talk a little bit more about how this works. So, beliefs. What do you believe? Values. What do you value? Attitudes. What is your attitude towards this or that? Thoughts. Are your thoughts just arbitrary? Do they just flood in? Do they belong to you? Do they belong to somebody else? Feelings. How do feelings work? What are your feelings? Where do they come from? And then the result of all of that is behavior. And if you don't have balance in all of that, or you don't understand all of that, or it gets disrupted, or there's trauma, there's so many different things that can destroy the balance of you, then you will be left feeling depressed, anxious, alone, lost. Let me give you an example. I used to smoke cigarettes. I believe that smoking cigarettes causes lung cancer. That's what I believe. And I believe that lung cancer kills you. And I've gone back and forth in my life between times that I valued it and times I didn't. When I started smoking, I didn't value it so much. And I lost a lot of value for my own life over the years following. But at some point, I gained all that value back. I got married, I had children, and I was like, man, my life's more important to me now. Attitude. My attitude about smoking when I first started smoking was, hey, it's cool, leave me alone, I'm an adult, I can do this. I started smoking when I was 12, y'all. So my attitude was like that. Well, my attitude later in life was like, hey, man, I don't think I like this anymore. Smell all the time. It's going to kill me one day. So I had a negative attitude towards it. And it was disruptive. My thoughts about smoking, though, my thoughts were like, hey, I need a cigarette. Like, I'm frustrated right now. I need a cigarette. Or, hey, I've been, working so hard at this, and so I need a cigarette. And it was supposed to calm me down, but in fact, it was a stimulant. So it really wasn't doing the thing that I thought it was. And my feelings were like, hey, I'm anxious, and so I need a cigarette to stop being anxious. But again, over time, it was counterintuitive. Like, I was anxious, and I would smoke and be more anxious. Because again, it's a chemical. It doesn't work that way, right? So then what was my behavior? My behavior was I would go and smoke. So you can see, I'm completely out of balance. My spirit knows that every time I smoke a cigarette, I'm one step closer to lung cancer and death, and it doesn't want to die. But my attitudes and my thoughts and my feelings were against that. We're like, hey, I need a cigarette. And so in order to take back control of myself, I had to start to affect that situation. I had to start to change things, okay? And what did I start to change? Well, first, the easiest thing to start to change in the whole list, beliefs, values, attitudes, thoughts, feelings, and actions, the easiest one to change is your thoughts. And that's where you should begin. And my thoughts were, hey, I don't want to smoke anymore. I took control of my thoughts, and my thoughts used to be, hey, I need a cigarette. And I changed that narrative to, I don't want to smoke anymore. And then every time I had a cigarette, my feeling would be like, oh, I don't want to do this. And slowly, over time, I cut down. I went from a pack a day to a half a pack a day. I went from a half a pack a day to 3 cigarettes a day. I went from 3 cigarettes a day to using a vape pen for just when I couldn't handle it anymore. And then that vape pen only lasted like 2 weeks and it was done. And I quit smoking. And it's because I took control of myself and I began to reorganize and rebalance. And so today I don't smoke cigarettes. And I've been smoke-free for, 12, 14 years. And they say like your lungs start to heal immediately. And after about 15 to 20 years, they should be, back to being clean. All these kinds of good things started happening. I actually started to become calmer and less anxious. The things that I wanted cigarettes to be doing for me actually started happening after I quit. Because it really doesn't work that way. And so when I learned all this, I really didn't get it. Like I said, I really just didn't understand how any of that worked and what that meant. But today, because I understand it, then when something's going on in my life that I need to fix, I know how to fix it. And so what do you believe that's not working for you? What values do you have that really aren't you? What is your attitude? Is your attitude positive or negative? Are you walking around with a bunch of baggage or do you need to process it? And then are you in control of your thoughts? And what tape is playing in your head? You see, I have this belief about thoughts. I believe that, the cartoon with Bugs Bunny, right? Bugs Bunny cartoon. You've got the devil on one shoulder and you got the angel on the other shoulder. See, I personally believe in God. I believe in a creator, right? And I also believe in an enemy, okay? And, a lot of people can want to argue about all that stuff and whatever. And that's fine, but the argument's not for me, right? My beliefs come from my experience and from study and research. And so what I know is this: there are thoughts in my head that don't belong to me. And some of those thoughts are telling me to do stuff I don't want to do. And some of those thoughts are encouraging me and reinforcing truth. And some of those thoughts are just me thinking about stuff. And so when I have thoughts in my head that are either not mine or they're not what I want anymore, then I take control of those thoughts and I replace them. So you actually have to tell them to go away. Like, hey, you don't need a cigarette. You don't want to smoke. Smoking is going to kill you. You have to replace that narrative. So what thoughts are in your head that aren't working? In a great way, again, I mentioned this earlier, to fix this situation is by journaling, okay? How much time do you spend with yourself? I'm going to let you sit in that question. How much time do you spend with yourself? And why does that matter? Because you're never going to achieve what you want to with personal development unless you're spending some time with yourself. And when I started journaling, then I was able to kind of get out what those thoughts were. Like, here's my thoughts, here's my feelings. Okay. And then I was able to start replacing them. Hey, I don't like that one. Hey, this is what I want instead. And I went from being depressed and suicidal and a drug addict to being confident, having energy, and developing goals and a plan. What are feelings? Where do they come from? Are you stuck with them? If you're depressed, like, are you stuck being depressed? Well, if you keep telling yourself, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, what are you going to be? You're going to be depressed. You have to say, no, I'm not depressed. I'm actually grieving, or I'm sad, or I'm confused, or I don't understand. Those are completely different emotions that could cause the same thing going on. Simon Sinek has got this great thing about nervousness and excitedness. Nervous and excited. Am I nervous or am I excited? Well, it's the same actual emotion, but one of them has a negative framework and one of them has a positive framework. And so he says, like, if you're going to do public speaking and you're nervous, don't say you're nervous. Say, I'm excited. I'm so excited to go out there on stage. Because that's the same chemical makeup in your body. It has the same feeling, but it has its energy producing instead of energy destroying. And so feelings are the taste buds of life. Yes, they are triggered by stimuli. However, because you can take control of yourself, then you can choose whether to sit in that emotion or to change it. And there are a lot of different ways. Tony Robbins talks about changing your state. This is the situation. You can change your state with a tall glass of water, right? You can change your state with a beer or a glass of wine or a shot. Probably not for the better. You can change your state in a lot of different ways. You can change your state by meditating. That's changing your current emotional makeup. But that's not changing whether you're depressed or whether you're anxious or whether you're any of those other things. So to change those things, you have to first identify, this is what's happening to me right now, but I'm not going to accept that and hold that and say, this is what I am now. I am depressed. No, instead, I'm going to reframe that. Just like from nervous to excited, I'm going to say, hey, I'm not depressed. I'm confused. I'm frustrated. Life's not going the way that I planned it to go. You see, when you reframe those feelings, you take power over them. Instead of them controlling you, instead of being stuck, instead of being a victim, instead of being imprisoned, now you're taking control of that. And you have control of that. Emotions are not who you are. You are not your emotions. Emotions are an aspect of who you are, and you have control of them. I don't like anger. When I figured this out, okay, like I lived in a house that there was a lot of anger, right? And I had a lot of experiences when I was younger that created a lot of anger. You know, there was bullying, there was abuse, there was a bunch of stuff that created anger in me, and you know, I don't want to be angry. So I took steps to choose not to be angry. And a part of choosing not to be angry is understanding forgiveness, right? And so if I forgive, then I don't have to be angry anymore. And so I don't know what you're going through today, but I do know that you have choices that you can make. I do know that you can take control of yourself and you can produce a different outcome. And so we're gonna keep talking about these things. This is not a simple subject. But start today and identify, what do you believe? What beliefs do you have that aren't working for you? There's a ton of conspiracy theory out there. There's a ton of politics. There's a ton of religion. There's a ton of stuff that is pulling at you, that is attacking you, that is disrupting you. Ask yourself, are any of those things important to who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish in life? And if not, man, let those things go. Stop scrolling. To replace the algorithm with something else. Start searching for personal development. Start searching for purpose. Start searching for things that are going to make your life better. The truth is yes, governments are corrupt. Yes, they have problems. Yes, they want your vote. Yes, all of those things, okay? But if you're not involved, you're not involved. My dad likes to say, hey, I don't care who the president is. It doesn't really affect my life very much at all. If you turn the TV off, it changes. Now, is that true? A little bit. Yeah, for sure. It's true a little bit. Is it not true in some ways? Sure. I mean, if we have this fear about the direction of our country and what's going on, then yeah. But the question is, are you going to get involved, or are you just going to be sitting on the couch angry, right? And so when you get involved, then you can learn about what's going on and who's involved, and you can have influence over those situations. But if you're not going to get involved, then there's absolutely 0 point. You're subject to anyway. So let it go. Move on. Figure out where your attention needs to be to accomplish the results that you're trying to accomplish. The truth is, you're a spiritual being in a physical body with a mind. And your spirit is made up of beliefs, values, attitudes, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And if any of those are out of line, your behavior isn't what you want it to be. Your feelings aren't what you want them to be. Your thoughts are scrambled and all over the place. Your attitudes are negative and causing friction in your life. Your values are not returning anything good. Your beliefs are disrupted. If any of those things are true, then start today. Get out a piece of paper and a pen and write them down. Hey, this is what I believe about this. It's not working. It's a value that I think is happening to me, that I want to change. And you start with where you are at, and then you write down, where do you want to go? No, I want to feel this way instead. No, I want to value this instead. No, I want my attitude to be great. I've told the story about when I asked my buddy, do I always have to be right? I was creating an environment that wasn't working for me. I wanted friends, and I always had to be right. So arguing with the people around me wasn't creating friendships. So I stopped that behavior. I stopped correcting people. I stopped giving unsolicited advice. And I reduced my value in being right. Because you can be right all day long and be all alone. And that changed. And today I got a bunch of friends. And I don't have that problem anymore. You can do it too. You got this. If this was helpful, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Keep coming back, put some comments. Let us know about your journey. And let us know what you want us to cover next. Thanks so much.
Sponsored by Zintavos. Keep more of your money.